Everyone has a story. Every encounter we've made, whether good or bad, has shaped us into the person we are today. As a follower of Christ, I know we were all created with intention to love God and to love one another. And the dreams, passions, and challenges we face all end up leading to that purpose. Through my Made for More series, I hope you'll be able to see the value in truly listening to other stories and be inspired to live for something greater than yourself.
What's your name?
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Okay, awesome. My name is Shellsea Benitez. I am 21 years old and I work for a leadership development / fundraising company. I also coach girls basketball at Notre Dame High School.
Nice. Tell me your story.
See, this question, tell me your story. I feel like it goes so many ways, but I'll start with, I was raised first generation Mexican American, right? Grew up with, I'd say comfortably. I had everything that I needed. Not so much like everything I wanted, right? But that taught me a lot about just being grateful for what I did have. I did grow up with a loving, supporting family. Grew up passionate about basketball. Grew up playing a lot of ball, and I found a lot of like my identity in that growing up, which can be a good and a bad thing sometimes. But yeah, I grew up loving the sport, loving to compete, and then eventually, like, as I got older, I realized that it was much more than just the competing aspect of things. I loved the relationships, the lessons I've learned, and like, eventually I wanted to pour into others. Again, being first generation, didn't have all the information or the resources that I didn't even realize that I needed. So I've always kind of wanted to be that coach that I didn't have, and be able to provide like the mentorship and the guidance on and off the court, on top of like even just practical resources and like people and outlets that students, kids could go to, because I was never exposed to that. So again, it was just really just that, like, always wanting to be the coach that I didn't have. So then once that opportunity kind of opened up to coach after playing, I'm hopefully not done playing yet, but after playing, I just kind of fell in love with that, and that's what I'm doing now, and it's something that I'm super passionate about. Yeah.
Awesome. How did you like first discover, I guess, your passion for basketball?
Yeah, for basketball, I first discovered, just picking up a ball. I grew up playing both soccer and basketball. It was really just, honestly, just the adrenaline, the competing, the passion just kind of came naturally. I started playing basketball around like second grade. Grew up playing both, but in high school you have to pick one or the other because they're in the same season. So I chose ball. Like when I was always trying to find what I was supposed to do in life, what my calling was, all those things. But I realized that it's more often than not what comes naturally to you, because I don't think you don't have to think about working as hard for something that you enjoy doing, that you love doing, right? So when I thought about it, like with ball, it was something that I didn't have to force myself to always like to work hard at that. Yeah. I wanted to get better. I wanted to like and yes, you have your days where it's like it's a little harder than others, but it's like that why, like it's always there, you know. And I think it also surrounds from just like a deeper passion of just like helping others and serving others. That's what comes with the coaching piece of things. But moments that have shaped me, well, I have to say the biggest one is like when I gave my life to God, just because like I dealt with a lot of like identity issues, a lot of even substance abuse and addictions, and which even strayed me away from my passions and what I loved, because there was a lot of distractions that pulled me away from it, because of like the deep-rooted insecurities in me, and that passion that I already had just like became rooted in something like versus like in nothing, you know what I mean? So I'd say that was the biggest moment that like changed and like shaped who I am today. And there's been a lot of like little moments in between, but that pretty much caused it all. Yeah.
Have you ever doubted your calling, like, or purpose?
For sure.
Yeah.
Plenty of times, still do. I think it's a normal feeling, but I didn't realize it was normal growing up. I feel like I had a hard time, because realistically, like I said, I think you should lean on what comes naturally to you, but that doesn't always pay the bills, right? So it's like even with basketball, like I realized that I wasn't sure how far it would take me. And I wasn't super passionate about a lot of things, like school. Wasn't good at school. I didn't have like a profession or a career that I was like striving towards, you know. I just knew I wanted to help people and be there for people, and if it surrounded basketball, great. If it didn't, I'd be okay, you know. But even now, like what my calling is, I look at it more now as who I'm called to be versus what I'm called to do, right? Because I think it changes in what season that you're in. Because I think there was a time where I was called to work retail. You know, there's a time now where I'm called to coach at this school. But what helped me like kind of have peace with like where I'm at and where I should be is knowing that he's in control, honestly, and whatever he has planned for me is better than what I have planned for myself, you know? Yeah. A moment that for me that happened was when I was playing college ball. I tore my ACL. And during that time is when I had my plans of like playing at the next level, eventually ideally playing overseas professionally. When you're working, putting your everything into something, and then something happens like me tearing my ACL that completely steers you off track, it's difficult, right? And in that moment, it's like you're lost in the sense of like, I don't know what to do. And I think in those moments when you are hit with something like that, it's important to, one, have a community that you can lean on. Obviously, it's hard to see like the future and like what is going to come out of this. Allow and trust that things are going to unfold. For example, I was still playing at the time. I was not coaching. And with that experience, now I've been able to be there and mentor and guide girls that are going through that same thing, right? And then it also helped me even look back at like that identity issue that I had with basketball, like on my performance, like looking back at it, it's like how my mood would change on like how good I could shoot an orange ball into an orange hoop, and like how, like looking at it, it's like your identity shouldn't depend on that, but as an athlete, forget that, you're blinded by it. Exactly, and exactly, and like I think it's normal for even non-athletes, like people with your identities in your relationship or in your job or in your sport, whatever the case may be, how good you can do something, right? And that's why I'm saying it's more important who you are versus what you do, right? To find that identity and that trust in that. But yeah, so I again, allowing things to unfold, knowing that trusting that they will unfold in a better way that you could have imagined, and trusting in who's in control. And I think, so with that, I mean, it led to a lot of like moments that I hold close to my heart of like me always wanting to be that coach that I wish I had. I've been able to relate more and be there more and be a better coach because of what I went through. Because then I wouldn't have been able to be there the same way for these girls without experiencing that, you know? I'm grateful to have gone through it now because I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I probably wouldn't be coaching right now. I worked with this company called Center of Healing and Justice Through Sport. And what they do is they coach coaches because unfortunately there are a lot of bad coaches that as much as you love a sport, when you get stuck with a bad coach, they can completely drain that love of like that game for you, you know? Like it's crazy, like, and I've seen it and I've almost let it happen to me. And what they do is they coaches on how to coach kids, you know, and of different age groups, different sports, different whatever the case may be, and they wrap psychology into it. So like, for example, like, and they make it very like engaging and like, you know, like you could walk away like you learned something, right? But like with these coaches, it's, again, wrapping this, for example, if you're dealing with say a 13-year-old kid, like they'll tell you about like what part of their brain is firing at this age, where they don't, a lot of times like you'll sub a kid out and be like, what were you thinking? Why did you do that? And it's like they have a part of their brain firing so much at this stage that they're not thinking because their emotions are leading the way. So it's not so much what were you thinking, is what were you feeling in that moment, you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's just, and then how to deal with kids that have troubled homes, how to deal with kids that, like, because at the end of the day, like you said, being a coach, you're not just coaching players, you are coaching people, even like characters and character traits, because we're teaching them things like reliability, like discipline, like timeliness, like integrity, like all of the things. That we're not just, so it's bigger than that. And on hand in hand with that, something that's really big for me, it's like we talked about that identity piece that a lot of athletes have their identity wrapped in the game, and that comes with a lot of like mental health challenges and emotional health challenges that we don't talk about enough. We're just coaching, the X's and O's, which is great. We should be knowledgeable, obviously, in the game that we're coaching. But it's like, how can we also provide kids with resources on how to manage and like excel in like their mental health? You know what I mean? Like, and not ever lose that love for the game, because like when those mental health challenges come up, when your identity is wrapped in your performance, it's very easy for your emotions and your mental to just kind of be like on this roller coaster, right? And the only way to kind of calm that storm is through teaching kids about like mental health and how to prioritize that through the working hard and the work that comes with being an athlete, right? But yeah.
Great. What was the most challenging period of your life, and how did it transform you to the person you are today?
I mean, I was raised by 2 alcoholic parents, and I feel like that led to a lot of like hyper independency on my end, and loving and supportive and all the things. I had a closer relationship with my mom than I did my stepdad, so it was really hard to like seek comfort from people. So that's what kind of led to the substance abuse and the hyper independency on like, I don't need nobody, all the things, not being able to face my own emotions, like just kind of running from it and distracting myself was tough. The other side of the question was like, how did it transform you? My parents both ended up giving their lives to God when I was around 16 years old, and I think one of the biggest things that I was able to learn was forgiveness and like understanding, because in the simple way of like me never having a relationship with my stepdad, like after giving my life to God, like, and him transforming and like trying, I also realized how to understand his trauma, not just like my own. Like he was never taught how to be a dad, you know what I mean? And like understanding that no one is the way they are for no reason. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a story. You asked me what my story was. Everybody has a story that has made them, has gave them all the good qualities and all the bad. You know what I mean? Like we've all taken good and bad from everything that we've been faced with and all the things that we've been taught. Like it really gave me a heart to want to understand people versus like preemptively judging them, or like, I don't know why they're like this. I don't know why, like, you know what I mean? So it just really gave me a heart to seek to understand. I know that doesn't come with also justifying people for, their actions, of course, but it really has helped me learn how to love people better, how to listen better, how to forgive first, and like not hold those grudges, because I've realized like all that was doing was hurting me.
Have you had a mentor or guide who helped you find your way, and what did they teach that stuck with you?
Okay.
You can have multiple.
Yeah. Well, my mom taught me all like my morals and my values, period. And it's just like that. I think the biggest thing for her is just like servanthood, just always being available and always just being there for people, you know what I mean, when they need you. That's one of the biggest things for my mom. This one actually wasn't a mentor, or it was a teacher that I had in high school, my junior year of high school, actually. Like first semester of junior years, when I was still like smoking a lot of weed, doing all the things. I would go to class every day and just sleep. Like I was just sleeping in class. I was failing all my classes. I had the lowest grade in the class, my English class. I had the lowest grade in the class. And I like remember towards the end of the first semester, it was like finals kind of week, I ran out of weed. So I went to class sober, right? So I couldn't sleep. So then I was just sitting there and we were taking this final. And I was like, whoa, I was looking at the paper. I was like, I'm not going to pass, but like, I'm bored. Like, might as well just take it. Yeah. So I took it. I ended up getting the highest grade in the class on that final. And he sent me a very long, frustrated email. He was like, you have all this smarts with a Z. He said smarts with a Z. Smarts. Yeah, you have my English teacher. I'm just kidding. But you have all these smarts in your head and all this potential that you're just throwing in the trash, and you're just wasting your time. Like I don't like figure. You need to figure out what you want, and pour yourself into it. Basically, what he said, and it just hit me like a truck. Like I'm throwing away the potential that I have, you know. And I know I wasn't gonna be an English major after that.
Yeah.
I'm not. But my point being is just like I will never know what I'm capable of, like, or my potential. I will never walk fully into my potential if I keep wasting my time and distracting myself with short-term like pleasures and short-term gratification, like versus holding that off for that long term, you know. And that was just something that really stuck with me, and like I kind of applied it to everything. Like, don't waste your potential. Like if you can do something, do it now. That's something that really stuck with me. And then mentorship, guidance. I mean, even now, Brandon, my pastor, just with everything, everything. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, for the most part right now, that's pretty much it. The advice I'd give to someone that feels like they don't have a purpose, to kind of sit and reflect on, again, what they enjoy, like what brings them life, what gives them that spark, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily be like a profession in a sense, right? Because like for me, before I knew it was coaching, I just knew I really loved helping people. I really love making people smile. You know, I really love like listening also as well, just listening to people. So I didn't know that was going to be coaching, right? But I mean, what wouldn't feel like a job? So I'd say just kind of reflect on what you're good at naturally, what you enjoy, and then put yourselves in positions to show that, you know, to practice that, and surround yourself with people that are like-minded, right? And then are in positions that like you would want to be in, right? And then, and then just put it out there. And then also like be okay with not being there yet, you know? Like I worked a lot of jobs that I didn't want to before, right? So it's like being okay. Exactly. So like also being okay with that, like it's gonna take time, it's a process. Humility comes with doing things that you don't want to do, right? Like that's where it's built. So, but wrapping back around to like purpose-wise, I'm speaking more so from like what to do, yes, but at the end of the day, that's why I don't believe my purpose is to coach. I enjoy it, I love it. My purpose is to love people. I think that reflects in the person that I want to be, right? I find my purpose in who I am, and who I'm becoming more than what I'm gonna do. Like I said, I think it changes from season to season. Relying on that is giving me a lot of peace, you know, just like as long as I'm consistent in who I am, I'll be all right in whatever position that I'm in, you know, so yeah.
That's awesome.